Hi, Nicky Christmas here. In this session, we are going to cover the information you need to be aware of to be on the same page as your executive and work in sync together. It certainly makes it easier to form a solid strategic partnership if you use the same language as your executive and understand what they are working on in their day-to-day, what is motivating them and the organisation at large. So let's dive in. We are going to cover 3 key areas. Business language, what it is that your executive is talking about every day. Goals and objectives, what's your executive working towards? And where can you add value so that your executive moves forward with their plans and the organisation moves forward with the strategy? Before we move forward with this session, I want to share a very quick quote from Seth Godin. Not adding value is the same as taking it away. I think this quote quickly sums up how important it is for assistants to add value. It's crucial, now more than ever, that we show our executives and our organisations what we can do and where we can add value. Okay, so on to the first topic I want to cover. Business language, what your executive is talking about. This differs from industry to industry and organisation to organisation. Still, assistants must understand the language spoken in the office and, more importantly, by their executive. Now, I know this can be difficult, particularly for those who work in technical businesses where there's many acronyms and jargon. So let's first of all cover the type of conversations that your executive might have and the information that you need to get to grips with. I will then share a few tips on how to get used to talking the language of your business. There are 4 significant areas that assistants should get to grips with when understanding what is going on with your executive. Firstly, who are your customers and how does your executive interact with them? If you work for a board level executive, they will interact with customers a lot, which will be a fundamental part of their role. If you work for, say, departmental heads or team leaders, they may interact less frequently with customers. However, it's still essential to know who the customers are, where your team or department fits into the buying process, and how your organisation serves your customers. To find all of this information about the organisation that you work for, you will probably need to be proactive in finding out all the details that you need to get to grips with it to understand how your organisation works. Much of the data can be found on your company website, but much of it will involve you asking questions and proactively seeking answers. When it comes to understanding who your customers are, how your executive interacts with them, and lastly, how you best serve them, you're going to have to ask some questions, and here are just a few to get started. Firstly, who are our most important customers and how do we serve them? Do we have buying personas for our customers? What problems do they have and how do we as an organisation solve them? These 3 questions will help you understand who the customers are and why they buy from your organisation. Here are a few more questions to ask yourself, your executive, or seek out the answers for yourself. How does your executive serve the organisation's customers? How does the work your executive undertakes impact your customers and their experience with your organisation? And does your executive have objectives that directly relate to your customer's experience? And if so, what are they? These questions will give you a good sense of how much your work and your executives impacts your customers. Lastly, most organisations will have data to measure how happy their customers are and the turnover rate or churn. Again, it's worth knowing because it indicates how well your organisation is doing and its growth. Okay, let's move on to the next business fundamental, and that's products. What products or services do your organisation offer? And how does your executive interact with the products and services? Do they generate profit for your business? When it comes to understanding your organisation's products or services, you'll probably have to review your organisation's website to get a good overview. If you work in a large global organisation, there are going to be many products and services. So start with your part of the business and work your way out. You must deeply understand the products or services your team offers and then have a broader understanding of the overall products and services. If you work for a department that's internally focused, HR or finance, in other words, a department that supports the business, look at how your organisation does that and the services they offer to the key stakeholders who are going to be the other employees within the company. So how do you understand the service that your organisation offers? Once you have a sense of what they are, the next step is to know how they work. Again, you have to be proactive in this instance, ask questions and seek answers. Many organisations will hold internal training for sales staff because they have to understand the products and services really, truly. So can you ask to sit in on a training session? Can you sit down with the head of sales for half an hour and get them to explain the product or service to you as though they were selling it to you? Does your organisation have demo videos you could watch or any sales collateral you could read through? Again, if you work in a very technical industry, this isn't easy, but it will help you develop your business understanding, which is so vital. It will help you understand what your organisation fundamentally does and why it does it, what problems your organisation solves with its products and services. Lastly, how does your executive interact with the products and services offered by the organisation? Are they building the product? Are they selling it? Do they market it? Do they make sure it works safely? Where in the journey of the product or services does your executive and their team sit? Okay, let's move on to another fundamental aspect of your organisation, finances and making a profit. How does your organisation make its profit and how does your executive impact the bottom line? So again, it's essential that you understand how your business makes a profit and actually what the profit is. And this is for two reasons. Firstly, it helps if you know where your organisation is growing and how they do that. And secondly, if they're not increasing their profits, why not? When you have those conversations with your executive during your yearly review, you want to know if the business is doing well. Often, and I've heard this many times, employees will get told they're not getting a bonus or a pay rise because the business isn't doing well, hasn't done well this year. Now, if you understand the finances of the business, you'll know how accurate that actually is. So how do you understand the finances of the business? Here are the documents that you need to read to get yourself up to speed. The vision or the mission statements, any growth strategies, goals and objectives for the business, executive summaries of what's been happening, any SWOT analysis that you can get your hands on, key performance indicators, customer profiles, understanding who the customers are, industry analysis, marketing plans, internal or external, organisation charts and structures to understand how the business operates and then the employees within the business, and the annual return. Now, I've left the annual report to last as this is probably the most helpful document you can read. Most public organisations have to produce an annual report every year that details their financial performance. The information will show the business's profit and loss, and they will also usually have a narrative that explains the financial position. As the annual report goes out to all stakeholders and clients, it's essential that you read this every year. So try to also gain an understanding of how your organisation makes money. As an assistant, you have access to a lot of information that will show you how your organisation makes money. You have to find out how your executives work and in turn your work impacts the organisation's financials. Do they have a direct impact on the bottom line of the organisation? Does their work win customers and increase sales, or is it more complex? Talk this through with your executive and that will help you understand your work's purpose and the value that you both bring to the organisation. Getting to the top of the industry will be the ultimate strategic goal for your organisation. So it's essential you understand how they plan to do that. And if they are already at the top, how do they plan to stay there? So my last fundamental aspect is growth. Your organisation and the leaders within it will have a growth strategy in place. And you must understand what that strategy is, how your organisation is going to achieve that strategy, and that usually falls into these areas. So how are they going to grow? Are they going to grow through a joint venture? Are they going to license their products? Are they going to open up to new markets? Are they going to develop new products? Are they going to get outside financing? Or are they ultimately going to be acquired? And these are the metrics usually used to measure growth. So they typically look something like this. What's the revenue? How many sales have they got? What's the company values? What are the profits? How many employees do you have? And is that employee number growing? How many customers do you have? And again, is that number growing? Again, having a sense of where your organisation is going in terms of growth will help you understand the strategy and what's pushing the business forward. In other words, the vision of the organisation. So I think we've covered the business fundamentals and language you need to grasp when working with your executive. I want to quickly touch on learning the language. Firstly, does your organisation have a jargon dictionary? Many highly technical businesses have a document that employees can refer to when understanding all of the office acronyms and jargon. If not, maybe that's a project you could initiate. It helps to attend meetings with your executive and, of course, engage with your colleagues on collaboration tools and platforms that they use to collaborate on. They'll be using that language all the time in there. But ultimately, it's about asking questions and seeking answers. Find out what the stuff means, because you need to know so that you can add value. So let's move on to understanding your executive's objectives and supporting their priorities. Before we move into the nitty-gritty of objectives and goals, the first aspect of understanding your executive's objectives is taking a step back and understanding the person and what motivates them. Why do they do what they do? And what motivates them? I've mentioned this quite a bit over the years, still it's worth mentioning that you need to ask if your executive has completed any personality preference tests, like Myers-Briggs or a DISC assessment. If they have, ask to look at the results to see what motivates them and how you can collaborate with them more effectively. Once you have a good understanding of what motivates them and why they do what they do, you can understand your executive's work and how you can support their goals. All assistants should know their executive's goals, objectives, and desired outcomes. If you aren't clear on these, now is the time to set up a one-on-one meeting to fix that. Why? Because everything you do is directly tied to that. By understanding their goals, you'll see how your work ties into the organisation's success. So, for example, your objectives should be aligned with their objectives. If they have a strategic goal, something like increase awareness of product X, you should have a practical objective, something like organise a launch party for product X. And this leads to my next point, understanding priorities. If you know the areas your executive is focusing on for the rest of this year, you can prioritise your workload so that the tasks relating to these areas are completed first. They are the things that get your most attention. You can also prioritise meetings, tasks, and emails relating to these critical areas. If you know what's important to your executive, you can use this information to enhance your strategic time management. Lastly, it's essential to understand how your executive wants to grow and their personal objectives for their career and role in the organisation, and actually where you fit into that. Where are they wanting to go, and how do you go with them? So now that you have oversight of your executive's objectives, how do you work together to ensure the goals and objectives are met? I want you to look at the following areas. Tasks. What tasks will you need to perform to drive those goals forward? Obstacles and risks. What are the potential obstacles that could stand in your way of success? How will you pivot to overcome them? Measurements. How will you be able to tell your efforts were successful? As you work together to move the goals and objectives forward, always return to those 3 key points. This will help you stay on track and ultimately make the goal a reality. Now that you understand some of the language your executive will use and the goals and objectives they will be working towards, let's look at how you can add value, or should I say it more like this, even more value. Have a considerable amount of skills and can add value in several areas within the workplace. Once you understand how the business works, you will start to see what's potentially falling through the cracks and proactively begin to make positive changes that will drive the business forward. So let's look at how assistants can add value immediately. I'm going to talk you through the different areas you could focus on when thinking about adding value. Increase speed. Simply increase the speed you finish your tasks. Increase quality. Remember, the quality is whatever your executive needs it to be. And that's something you often have to check first before you start the task. Increase convenience. Make your executive and your colleagues' day easier. Save money. Work with suppliers to bring down costs. Make money. Saving time for the fee earners in the business. Improve efficiency, making changes for the better. Fix problems. Solve issues so that they don't happen again. Drive results. Ensure projects are finished. Increase service. Make your customers and your clients happy. So I want you to take a minute, and in the chat, I want you to talk through with the other attendees which of these you think you are regularly doing and which value adds you think you could bring to your organisation. So I'm going to give you a minute. Which ones are you doing and which ones do you think will add value to your organisation? My last takeaway from this section is an activity that you can do to help think through the areas that you can add value. In the first column, I want you to list all of the tasks that you currently do. If you haven't done this before, it's so worthwhile, and you can actually find a list on Practically Perfect PA of all of the usual tasks that assistants do. That will give you a good starting point. Next, think about how much value they add. Should you be doing these tasks? Do they align with your organisation's strategy? Do they align with your executive goals and objectives? If no, why are you doing them? Next, using the framework that we just discussed earlier, how can you add more value to the tasks that you already have? Can you increase the quality of these tasks? Can you increase the speed or efficiency? Could you be saving your executive even more time? Could you be solving problems that often come up in the office that nobody else is fixing? This is a beneficial exercise, I would say, to do at least once a year, certainly before your performance review. It's a great document to share with your executive once you've completed it, so they know what you are working on and the value you bring to the organisation. I hope you found this session helpful, and I hope that you can take it back to your organisation and add tons of value. Thanks for watching.
Hi everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that session from the EA campus today, and thank you so much for those of you who have contributed in the chat. I know that that was a very quick run through some quite heavy topics there, so this recording will be available to you, and you can go back through the slides and make any comments, or if you want to take down any notes, that you can do that from the recording that's going to be up on the YouTube channel. So before we wrap up for today, I wanted to take you behind the scenes of the EA campus to give you a good look at some of the features that you get when you do become a member of the campus. But before I take you on the tour, I want to let you know that we launched the EA campus towards the end of last year. We've been in beta for most of this year just to make sure that we've got everything in place, and we've been working with a fantastic group of founding members to make sure that the features are exactly what our assistants need as the role continues to change and grow. We opened up to new members in June, and we are looking for our next cohort of members. So we charge $15.99 per month. That's in pounds, in British pounds, or £175 per year. So it's well worth joining if you want to meet other assistants or you want to take part in the exclusive training that we have. Okay, so I'm going to take you behind the scenes. I'm going to show you around, give you an idea of what the features look like, and I'll answer any questions that you have in the chat. We're going to start on the homepage, and I'm going to show you around. But before we do that, I do want to say that you might feel a bit overwhelmed. I know what it's like when you start with a new community or a new platform. So I just want to say the best thing really to do is get stuck in, and you will find that it will be really intuitive the more you look around, and you're able to start looking and using all of the different features. So in this little guide, we are going to start on the home page, which you can see here on my screen. As I said, there is a lot going on here, but what you will find is that on here are your discussions. So everything that's happening on all of the different parts of the EA campus, you will find on your homepage. This is your feed to catch up on when you first jump onto the community, to see what's going on and to see what everybody has been talking about. For those who are new to the EA campus, really the best place to start is here where it says Start Here. Here you will find a little video from me just welcoming you to the EA campus, and a little bit more information around what you can do and where to start on your journey in the community. Next up, we have our guidelines. Again, have a read through these. They're pretty standard, but as you know, it's things like be nice to each other, don't be rude, try and comment on other people's discussion points, and try and help and be part of the community. It's all about making connections on the EA campus. So the best way to do that is to get involved and chat with other people. And this is where you will find our introduction section. So this is where we say to everybody who first joins the EA campus, jump into the introductions, let us know a little bit about you, who you are, your job title, what you hope to achieve from the community, and everybody will welcome you in this part of the campus. So here, as I said, is where we put all of our introductions. Up next is our really exciting events calendar. Here you will find all of the information that you need to look at what is going on in terms of all of our events. So we've got a really basic Google Calendar, and in there you can click into anything that's going on, and you can see what time it is and where it's happening. You should see a RSVP button on some of the events, and in that RSVP button you can click and add your details so that we know that you're coming to the event on that day. There's a lot going on with our events, so make sure that you do check out the calendar and keep an eye on what's going on with the events. You can subscribe to it as well so that you can put everything into your Google Calendar too. Okay, onto our discussion section. This is where this is our news feed effectively. This is where our community come together and chat through all of their issues or challenges or things that they've got going on or questions that they want answered. So it's pretty full. You'll see here there's lots and lots of things going on, people asking questions, people starting discussions. So a lovely picture of a dog. So this is where you can come on and check to see what people are talking about every day. In our event replays, for those of you who can't make the events when they happen live, we do record all of the events. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, then you can jump into the event replay later and catch up on any of the events that you've missed. We've had some good ones and they'll stay there forever. So even if you weren't a member when these events took place, you can catch up on them. Now, our weekly wins, this is our little, what we like to call our accountability corner. This is where you will find our weekly wins. We ask all of our members to pop in and write the goals that they're planning to achieve this week. And from here, you can see that people have started to put in what they've achieved and what they'd like to achieve going forward. So this is our accountability corner. If you need any help with achieving your goals, you pop them in our weekly wins and you've got a team of cheerleaders who will help you try and achieve them. We like to get to know our members, and the best way to do that is to take part in our member spotlight. It's a simple questionnaire that we ask our members to fill out so that we can just get to know you guys a little bit better and find out a bit more about you. So as you can see, we've got a few member spotlights over the last few weeks, and it's just a great way to get to know our members and find out what they want from the EA campus and a little bit more information about their career. Over to Nicky's place, my place. Every 2 weeks, I host an Ask Me Anything session. And here, it really is that. You jump on, you type your questions, and I will try to answer every single one of them. It can be really anything, any recommendations you'd like me to make, or questions about maybe working with your executive, or a challenge that you've got with maybe one of your team. Really anything, a bit of technology that you're interested in, and if I've used it, there really is anything you can ask me. If I don't know the answer, I will go and find the answer for you. So yes, this is the place where I try and do a little bit of mentoring for our community and try and answer all of those burning questions that you might have. And then we've got our big chunky content library. So we've got guides and ebooks. This will be filling up. There's 3 in there at the moment, but this will be filling up over the next couple of months. At the moment, they're 100-page long ebooks, so they're pretty chunky. But we will be adding a few more in there over the course of the next couple of months. So look out for those. But for the time being, the 3 in there will keep you occupied for a little bit of time. We've got our template library, which is full of really brilliant templates that you can download straight away and use in your business. Again, they're added, this area, the template library, is added to quite frequently. So do make sure that you check out the template library. And then we've got 2 courses. We've got our mini course on tech tips and tricks. Again, chunky content there. They're videos and articles and guides that you can use to update all of your tech needs. And then setting goals and objectives and career planning. Again, these are all videos and guides and articles that you can use to set out your goals and objectives for the year. So we've got 2 courses on there. And again, we'll be adding to those pretty soon. So that's it for the EA campus. As I said, it really is an incredibly intuitive platform. You can connect with our members, which you can see on the right hand side there. You just jump straight in and you can send messages to them through the platform. There's a lot going on, and it really is just a case of making those connections and really making and taking advantage of all of the content on there, along with the ability to ask questions and get answers to anything that you need. I hope you enjoyed that little show around there of the EA campus. Again, it's £15.99 per month, £15.99 per month, or £175 for the year. I'd absolutely love to see more members in the EA campus. So if you are interested in joining our community, our growing community, the address to join is the eacampus.com, and we would love to see you in there. If you have any questions or comments or you need to ask me anything, you can of course email me at nikki@practicallyperfectpa.com and I'll make sure to answer. But that's all of the time that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed our training session and show round of the EA campus. As I said, if you do have any questions, then please do get in touch with me and I will make sure to respond. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me and have a fantastic weekend. Take care.